This is some additional information about how to find out about the chemical safety. We've already talked about lab equipment safety and behavior in the lab, but this is how you can find out information about chemicals and their dangers and how to deal with them. First off, we've got the NFPA chemical hazard label, and you don't need to know what NFPA stands for. What you do need to know is what all the colors stand for. And you'll typically see these diamonds outside of a building on a door where there's chemicals stored. I know, like at swimming pools, you'll a lot of times see the chemical storage area with this symbol on it, so that if a firefighter were to come along and there's a fire, they know what they're dealing with. So first of all, the colors are: red is for flammability, and since fires are red hot, that should be easy to remember. So flammability has to do with things burning and catching on fire. Next, we've got yellow, which is reactivity or stability, and since really that's pretty much what chemistry is all about, we'll be getting into more about what that means later on in the year. We've got blue for health, so maybe you can remember that by remembering that doctors usually wear blue scrubs, and they are your healthcare professionals. And then lastly, we've got this white diamond down at the bottom, which is very special, and so this is the only square or diamond that's not going to have a number assigned to it, but will have some sort of special code that gives additional information that the other three colors don't give. So here's an example with the numbers filled in. The numbers will range from 0 to 4, 0 being the least serious for that category, 4 the most serious. So for example, if there's a 4 in the red, that means that it's a very flammable substance. If there's a 0 in, let's say, the yellow, then that would mean that the substance is stable. So it means it's not just going to start reacting when, when it comes in contact with air or with you or whatever. This is an example for a chemical called diborane. It's nothing you have to have memorized, just to show you an example. Here we can see the special white one is filled in, and the no W means avoid water. So obviously, if a firefighter saw this sign, they would not use water to put out the fire. They would use something else. And again, we can see this is a pretty reactive chemical with a 3 here. It's very flammable, and it's also pretty dangerous to your health. So this would be something to really look out for, whatever's being stored, or this diborane being stored here. If you want some additional information about the chemicals beyond the NFPA diamond notation, looking at the label, so like the labels of the chemicals in the storage closet would have these types of labels on them, gives a little bit more detailed information about, giving us the name of the chemical, some alternate names, and tells us about if there's health issues, what organs does it affect? So it'll be dangerous for your eyes, for your skin, for your respiratory system, your nervous system, etc. So it's basically pretty bad. Tells you some ways to protect yourself, and also gives us some ways to deal with what happens if we are exposed, what happens if there's a fire with it, what happens if it leaks or spills, etc. Okay, so here's a little quiz for you. Which chemical, A or B, is less reactive? So taking a look at the reactivity. And then which chemical, A or B, poses a greater health risk? And time's up. So for which is less reactive, so reactivity is the yellow, so we would be comparing the 0 for A in the yellow category and the 4 for B in the yellow category. And so with the 0 being the lower number, we would say that A is less reactive. And then for the second question, which chemical, A or B, poses the greater health risk? Well, we're looking at the blues. So there's B's blue, which is a 2, A's blue, which is a 1. So we're looking for greater health risk. That's got to be B, since it has a higher number in the blue category. Lastly, we're going to look at MSDS. You do have to know what MSDS stands for. So I will ask you a question. What does MSDS stand for? So it stands for Material Safety Data Sheet. So we're talking about safety. Data is a term for information. And we're talking about materials. Chemicals are also referred to as materials, and it's on a sheet of paper. So Material Safety Data Sheet, that's how you can remember what those letters stand for. And what this is it's something that should be on file for all purchased chemicals. So if I order a chemical from a manufacturing company, they should provide me with this sheet. If you work somewhere, if you work at a swimming pool as a lifeguard, there should be these on file for the chemicals that they're using in the pool. If you work somewhere where there's a lot of cleaning supplies, or somewhere where you're doing automotive work, they should have these as well for whatever chemicals you're using, oils, antifreeze, anything like that. Basically all the information that we've talked about that was on the label or on the NFPA symbol. This includes even more detailed information on those items. And then there are different formats used by different chemical companies, but they all have the same basic categories and information in the same order. Here's just an example of what one might look like. You're going to be pulling these up as your assignment related to this presentation. You'd be finding one of these online for an assigned chemical. And so notice we've got our basic information. So we've got the name, symbols, what's it made out of, physical data. We'll be talking about what these types of things mean. We've got some sections about the specifics, so fire hazards, health hazards, reactivity data, what to do if we spill it or it leaks, and then other special protection and special precaution. And so again, you'll be finding one of these on your own in your next assignment.